na sawochi konkoya na jasa samaba na sawochi konkoya na jasa samaba na sawochi konkoya na jasa samaba
eni brenso aba Santo me da say Bob Santo abo Tonton Sansan ni mu Tonton Sansan brenie eni bre pa na aba no for several so many years and Africa you try so hard say you bede ye ho nya ye nooma was said yesi ye no wabra obi amfa ne nsam mekan ye obi am embekika nsam bi ngu yasum say ye nante say anase ye na sa abrewe moja ehwe gu ye wabra ye ko sadaba ya amama hodo ewa bibi man no ebenya omo fa ahodie Kwame Nkrumah ne empanimfo num bi na no mo sa abre no wo mo wo ne ye sa aboa bi be sori e friend neo-colonialism aboa bi be sori a friend neo-colonialism e komunti e kom ebede ye nti wo mo be gina ye kom no so no mo de mia ye se de be ya ye be koso a wonko asom mu sasam ye katra ye eye disema ye kande to ho eye nkom sha empanimfo bi sha ye ana etwa se fata se ye tu ho anamon edi huduma wo kwa be so se bibi man be ka ne ho abom no obenya hoden se ho Power FM asenso de na eye nsa a ye mu atwede umu atwede se ya ebeye den pa de se de mamu atwede ebeye den pa se that's one be bia mi nsem. And that was the path. Nem one penny for no susuyemuno. Now say a bibi my efa. Said by your benya hoden. A basica semu. Said by ya. Yenya a man fra for nasa mama who do for subi. A momum befa. A combi a D. No ma kayasha to said ye cosway. And then Ghana oh here bubra ye wom. Ye sika sema say. Any oh here mena donko mo ye denti. United States Vice President etimbe gina ye nim betena ye seat of government Jubilee House ebe just say ye US de so hwe make Kamala Harris mabra bomu ne me normal me ya da ne da nyina metwitwaje enkofo a sebe nyamya bo ba ne bema se ba ne bema eda no metima wo se be I want to aso betima ba no wo se ye woni en sha asase so ma oba ne bema and also mo dansa na sade na si nya bema ne bema na eda nya oba na eda ansana I want to aso etima koso wose media mabra bom nyina no enkofo mo madwen se wo mo oba ne oba ba ware ne bema be ware sankofo no wo mo fa hodie na me ba ho ban eti ye de wam ne ye gina ye e wo sasem no ho and omanya ekomde no tiemuaye bia efri ne mampanyi ho bae nanado danko akufuado wabra wo predecessors. Typical example, President Jonathan Sansan wo sigira wabra na sa hochire sabi amma no homene so ana amama hodo mu wo sika eye se one penny sa gay ni lesbianism Sansan no so a ye moa wo no tie de mills kan ye wo se ye penny so ne empene so ntina ye ma ho kwan ma ne ma Mama, another example. Ugandan president. Womu gradi o masha mbrao. Embrana kro masha no. Womu se uko kanwasa anaso ti radio so na o ya ho campaign womu o kika ho nsem ede tutunko votima embrana ni ubedi. Ugandan president. America press fo ye bi. America fo nsem twefo ye bi. Eko busa no question efa gay ene lesbianism ho. Na me pese wutie emuaya wade ma wo mo hwe nyansa kwan ene feminist ene akokoduro a wade ma mo muaye e kire mo nienti a e wo so mo so te Uganda ene abibifo ase wo nienti a gay ene lesbianism eye yeti wade tie we.
For many months now, many in the international community are saying that by your signing of this bill, you're taking Uganda a step backwards, that you are not protecting the freedoms and the rights and the choices of the Ugandan people. So how do you respond to that? And specifically, President Obama has said he was deeply disappointed by Uganda's move and says that it would complicate US-Uganda relations. I've listened to everything that you've said in the statement, so how would you respond to that? And does it worry you, and have you spoken directly to President Obama about this?
Well, we have been disappointed for a long time by the conduct of the West, the way you conduct yourselves there. But we just keep quiet. We just see how you do things, how the families, how they are organized, in all these things. We see them, we keep quiet. We never comment because it's not our country. Maybe you like it. So, since there is now an attempt at social imperialism to impose social values of one group on our society, then our disappointment is now exacerbated because we are sorry to see that you live the way you live, but we keep quiet about it. Now you say we must also live like us. That's why we say no. We say no. And am I worried? Not at all. We should be worried about what? Because to tango needs two people to dance. If the West doesn't want to work with us because of homosexuals, then we have enough space here to live by ourselves and do business with other people.
Simple. Say gay and lesbianism, some I see into anything, most money and say I have a tango. Tango, it takes two to tango. Some money and Sabiodia. Now money and Antibiodia. Oh, Uganda had ye, Yori Museveni, was it Uganda had ye? Yes, that's so. Yani ya better. Yani Yankasa ya better. And yenim kofa yeni omo business. Say I'm for west side, yeni befa east. Some for east side, your baby I befa. Baby I befa bianso. Uganda interest first. And no, and a president in the dynasty. Here is the president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, president of the first black Saharan country who gained independence, president of a country, the first president, a man from Fatuho, wo a kwanya ye faso tena se before. Na enedru so, brabedan se sunedi, brabedan ne di se, Ghana first, Africa first, Dainedia. President Akufo-Addo, yentie no.
Yes. What's the name?
Sorry, Zolan Kano Young of the New York Times.
Zolan Mr. Young. So thank you for the question. First of all, we don't have any such legislation here in Ghana. A bill has been proposed to the Parliament of Ghana, which has all kinds of ramifications, which is now being considered by the Parliament. It hasn't been passed, so the statement that there is legislation in Ghana to that effect is not accurate. The bill is going through the Parliament. It's going through the Parliament. The Attorney General has found it necessary to speak to the committee about it regarding the constitutionality or otherwise of several of its provisions, and the Parliament is dealing with it. At the end of the process, I will come in. But in the meantime, the Parliament is dealing with it. And I have no doubt that the Parliament of Ghana will show, as it's done in the past, first of all, its sensitivity to human rights issues, as well as to the feelings of our population, and will come out with a responsible response to the proposed. The legislation was a legislation that has been provided as a private member's bill. This is not an official legislation of the government, but it is one that has been mooted by a handful of private members. So we will see what the final outcome of it.
President Akufo-Addo, ni mwa ye no. Fatuto Museveni die no. The difference. Eti anya me wada wabra ye kwa ahoma no so ye ne honorable Bernard Ahiafo member of parliament Emma Akachi South ewo Volta region yene ne betwetwe nkomo no so ka committee a legal committee or Ghana Mrashe Bedwafie and sa committee no ono na President Akufo-Addo refer to say wo mu di eye emre nsusuye no ho dwuma me pese me hunu ba bia yadru e wo sa amra nsusuye no so o mawie o madwuma ye ba be hu mra na ye kɔ ne nkyɛn sisi na ye ne di nkomo honorable ye mo ache mo akwaba.
Good morning to your cherished listeners. And good morning to Power FM.
Fantastic. I understand. Yebeka Brofo or speak in the English dialect. Obroni Kasan Yebeka. But before then, let me just avert your attention to this. I mean, moments after President Akufo-Addo spoke or answered that question by the New York Times reporter, there's a story on CNN. I don't know if you've seen it. That suggests that Ghana has softened its stance on the anti-LGBTQ bill. Is that to suggest that the bill is already out there and people have gone through it?
Well, CNN report might be based on what the president told the general public. But I must say categorically that that is not a factual position. The bill has not been watered down. The Committee on Constitutional, Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs, upon the referral of the bill, did stakeholder consultation. And the bill was so sensational, such that we received about 200 memoranda. And we need to sit down with each person that has submitted a memo to the committee. In fact, civil society organizations, the traditional rulers, the Muslims, the Christian community, the academia, I mean, they all submitted a memo. And we did a stakeholder engagement and even carried the public along by telecasting live the stakeholder engagement in order to carry the public along. The committee has completed that particular exercise successfully, resolved to do cross-by-cross consideration of the bill. And the report of the committee is ready, and probably the report may be made today, so that the business committee can program the second reading of the bill.
Our point. No, just for clarity. At what point did you complete the report? And I'm saying this because of what Speaker Alban Bagman was asking for and demanding the last time he met the clergy.
The report of the committee was ready as of last week. I have seen the draft of the report as of last week, and as a ranking member on Constitutional, Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs, I was asked to go through it. If there is any correction or amendment, we'll do it. And we have done it, and the chairman of the committee has since signed the report. I believe copies of the report is going to be distributed to members of parliament, because they have done enough copies for members of parliament. And I am sure today it will be late.
And what about Speaker? Did he have a copy at the time he was speaking to the clergymen?
You see, there are procedures in communicating such issues to the Speaker. So sometimes there might be a bit of delay in the process getting to the table of the Speaker. And upon the readiness of the report, the proper channel has been followed in communicating things to the Speaker. And I believe to strongly the Speaker had a copy of the report of the committee. And the leadership in Parliament also have a copy of the report of the committee. Because I personally took a copy of the report to my leadership.
Okay, let's make reference to the Attorney General, because listening to President Akufo-Addo, he makes reference to the fact that he's had some level of involvement in the drafting of this bill, and of course the report. What is his extent of influence, and does it in any way capture the human rights sentiment argument that is being thrown about, especially by the West?
Well, that statement that the Attorney General was involved in the drafting of the bill is factually incorrect, so far as I am concerned. Because Attorney General cannot be involved in drafting a bill, and at the same time, after the stakeholder consultation, he will write to the committee to have audience. And as at the time the Attorney General met with the committee was almost done with the cross-by-cross consideration of the bill. And it was realized that most of the concerns raised by the Attorney General has been taken into consideration by the committee at cross-by-cross level.
And what were those concerns?
To say that the Attorney General was involved in the drafting, or Attorney General has watered the bill down, with all due respect to my president, the least said about it, the better.
And in a context that will make it more understandable to us, when they make reference to watering it down, exactly what do we mean? Has it got to do with the human rights sentiments argument that is being portrayed by the Western world? When you listen to Vice President Kamala Harris, she plays around that.
The Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs was made up of eminent lawyers, most of whom are very senior lawyers and a senior to even the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. We have people like Honorable Dominica Ayene, Dr. Dominica Ayene. We have people like Honorable Mahama Ayarga. We have people like Honorable Kletus Avoka. We have people like Kwame Minkah Entry. We have people like Sosu. We have people like Honorable Bernard Ahiafo, who is also a senior to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. So when the committee is confronted with a bill, we look at the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, which is a fundamental law above and beyond which no further law exists. And these lawyers, we are very much aware that you cannot make a law which will be repugnant with the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Because if you make a law which is repugnant with the Constitution of Ghana, to the extent of that repugnancy or inconsistency, that law will be declared null and void. And you have Chapter 12, starting from Article 12 of the 1992 Constitution, which is dedicated to human rights. So we call Chapter 12 Human Rights Provision. So as a committee, we must ensure that there is no provision in the anti-LGBTQ bill which conflicts with the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And that was what exactly we have done. Now, the committee has proposed several amendments to the bill. Remember, at stakeholder engagement, the very first day, I maintain that having gone through the bill may not end up in Parliament in the current form that it was brought to the committee. So it therefore means that the committee will do amendments to the bill. So we did a lot of amendments to the bill. We took out the element of subjectivity in the bill. We realigned this particular bill to Section 104 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act, which prescribes a natural carnal knowledge. We have realigned the sentencing regime in order not to put the prosecutors into an election, because if the Criminal and Other Offences Act states a number of years of imprisonment, anybody who is found guilty of activities of that nature, and it is different from the anti-LGBTQ bill, then you are putting the prosecutors into an election such that any prosecutor who doesn't like your faith will go under the law that has a higher sentencing regime. And if he likes your face, he goes under the law that has a lower. So we realign all those things. For instance, the bill stated clearly that anybody who is involved in LGBTQ activities and wants to come out, the person should be subjected to a medical treatment. We look at that as against Article 108 of the 1992 Constitution, stating that a private member cannot introduce a bill which will have a financial implication. That can only be done by the executive arm of government. So this being a private member's bill, do we allow that particular provision to stay? So the committee has done all these amendments to ensure that the bill is in conformity with the existing law as well as the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And this is not the first time that the committee will be doing issues of this nature. But instead of the president praising the committee, he wants to praise the Attorney General, who appeared before the committee only to realize that all the concerns that he was raising have been taken into consideration by the committee. And the meeting with the Attorney General lasted less than an hour. So, such a sensitive deal, how can the Attorney General have a meeting, 30-45 minutes meeting with the committee responsible on constitutional, legal, and parliamentary affairs, and claim to have voted this sensational bill? So, what they are saying, that the Attorney General has watered the bill down. The least said about it is the better.
Okay,
not factually correct. You can ask any member of the committee as to whether if the Attorney General wants to water this particular bill down, what prevented the Attorney General to bring a memo, just like how other organizations and civil society, academia, brought a memo before the committee, which memo were taken into consideration in doing clause by clause at the committee level.
Okay, 9:40 GMT. Abuja for yene honorable here for na twetwe nkomo fa anti-gay bill no ene baby a edru so far when in church mu odi ama o kire se bibia ni wa eda di pefe anase kire se Attorney General no abetena omo so ama oma ye nsakramu ewo emra no mu a ebema oma Ghana gina ye ewo trumu ne oba ne oba ware ne bema ware no but baby omujina. But honorable, if you were in a position of President Akufo-Addo and you were to answer that question from the New York Times reporter with a full knowledge based on what you have or what you know as far as the bill in its current state is concerned, what would have been your answer to Ghana's position on LGBTQ plus whatever? What is Ghana's position? Is it a yes? Is it a compromise? Is it a 50-50 situation? What is it?
Honestly speaking, Parliament is the arm of government tasked with the responsibility to make laws. Therefore, the president should have the confidence and be bold to tell the international communities as well as Ghanaians that the bill is before Parliament. And the committee responsible is working on the bill without necessarily making factually incorrect statements. I state categorically, with all due respect to President Nana Akufo-Addo, that he's blowing hot and cold in the sense that he said outside of the country that LGBTQ is bound to happen. Following which they came to the country to establish LGBTQ office at Dominica. Now, it brought about the whole problem in Ghana. People were agitating that the office should be closed down. In fact, it was closed down. They erected a billboard. The billboard was pulled down.
That's
as a result of which, private members made up of both parties in Parliament, though majority members are more, we have Honorable Ntim Fojo, who is a member of the majority group, part of the proponent of this particular bill. That shows that the bill is not only coming from the minority side, though minority is dominantly dominates.
He calls you a handful. I mean, a handful of private members.
Yes. So this is a bill that the House will consider and take a unanimous decision. So it is something that we Ghanaians we want. So I believe strongly this particular bill will be passed into law. And now that the committee's report is ready and will be laid, when it is programmed for second reading, we are prepared to debate the principle and opinion the bill. And when we pass the second reading, it goes for consideration, possible second consideration, third reading, and then we'll refer it to the president. It is then that he would be seized with this particular bill and decide whether to give assent to the bill or not to give assent to the bill. But in line with the constitutional imperative, if he does not want to give assent to the bill, he must bring the bill back to Parliament with an explanation as to why he's not going to do it. And when Parliament feels strongly this is a good law, passed for the nation, and he must do it, they will be under obligation to give assent to the bill, and that bill surely in future will become a law. So he must say categorically whether he wants the LGBTQ in Ghana or he doesn't want the LGBTQ in Ghana. It is not always the case that will be blowing hot and cold. When you reach here, you want to please the people. Because the president who said LGBTQ is bound to happen in Ghana.
With a caveat. With a caveat.
Under his word, LGBTQ would not happen. So why can't he be clear and told the international community that under his word, LGBTQ activity would not happen?
Interesting. Honorable, I want to thank you very much for talking to us this morning. Honorable Bernard here for now taking member of parliament. I also want legal and constitutional affairs committee of Ghana Brasibig. If you want to hear Juma, I was Sam Bransusiena, Ebebuamianya, Jinaye, Tia, a year gay any lesbianism and seven was so far. O my Juma pa, o my common Embrano, Bibia, Eddie Pefe, say Ghana, Babesi, Jinaye Kentine. Say yes, sir, a sureness are bino, yam peneso, and train a man in Koso, ewo o my Ghana. Now, or Casafa, a yam man penny, no, Cassa, man penny, or Kobe Bia, or Shanas and Framano, a hono, a Frame, you know, more pa, both were done in one way, you or Kobe Bia, Nas and Framan, I asked to say, I dare say no more pa, not done in one way, why I want to say, was a sad, you know, ain't me any facono as a or has a wano. Aquas a nyatrum deniano. Was a said deniano, Wagana, M1 Casa. 81 seat denial payment. A casa fa near Ghana for pay. And honorable here for Mamma Man Fatum Bebre. Ebra LGBTQ community no. Womobe rented then be a one cry ha. So more LGBTQ no more no. Edian see a man for sorry. Emma. Dino conform multimino or mukoyu or mufrimu. Yes, sir, or mount a billboard. Our material LGBTQ norma, I was on the DNC. A man for more hominous so to the stand, say, a man some more hominous so, my soft so, I'm more hominous so, I'm a Muslim penny for, I'm more hominous so, and ne. He said, Mransus ye, Edda, Mrasabegafia, Edi Wujuma. Eti, a dear in a Mampenny, Nanado Danko Kufodo, a pupunity. Was asem yimu wabra wonim nia Ghana fo nyina epe when it comes to LGBTQ plus whatever issue yi ede na man nanado populity ede na man nanado entimi nkasa wo bema mu wo bema so mu ede na entimi man nanado entimi nkasa sa na se wo kasa ase wo kasa wonka ase wo unity ase wo unity. And you see, I don't blame it on anything. No. I blame it on the reckless borrowing akoswa and namswanti. Oh my Ghana, your nam IMF a part say yambabuam Ghana. Reckless borrowing, reckless management of the economy. And namswanti say yanam China for so a yepo macho so fire can't say. And wabra when you know cost one, Mr. Mammy, Baumia ne budget no, Fatos on Yanshadi. Wabra when you know cost one, head of the economic management team, Dr. Mamadou Baumia, our ye Ghana Mampenip, Abedi Tre. Was so about a campaign launch. The office of the vice president says, Sadia way, and Yano Kramoma Bontain, Namobeka Wasem. Baumia must win. Telephone number Neguano, the campaign manager. Baumia for President 2024 Jubilee House DSA expenditure for upcoming Baumia must win launch on Thursday 30th March 2023 another date you're saying another bay. Now was it kindly find below the total breakdown of our expenditure for the upcoming launch. Now you see the principle I'm a person me dream is here we so when you ain't way and they say aso maya wakwa huhia mu a ohia dokro wo ye sa budget we amount wo na ye head of economic management team wo na nam wade your so na ye mine sikasem asay so wo ye dwumadie bia you shouldn't be seen to be doing profligate expenditure. You shouldn't be seen to be doing BBA as a extravagant expenses. As I just said, menya sika bebrebe and me dia say no. Menya sika bebrebe and me de chairman say yes, me was sika pa. Yes, we may talk about party financiers and then the whole chronoba. But we are vice president. And we're launching a campaign at a time. Ghana at a time. Ghana for Sasika, a year Baumiani total expenditure was say what the campaign launch. At the time, I said Sikawe, a bit my baby kakra, a diama Ghana for. Eti Sawaki can one ma. We be here what the buy the campaign launching in Aboma and only baby I read no. 4,405,000 Ghana cedis city money 4,405,000. So we can baumia and no man in a bomb and no man we here what the buy the campaign launch. Sir. Budget in Susuya Yakotunanim, Sabaumia Jituma, a 4,405,000 and other Quaqua in the campaign launch. At a timer, Ghana Pacho say a cabas a cassoye, Yemfire Kantaye. And these are the people who are leading the country. Omo lifestyle, you will be beer and say. Ghana nisika. Womo no ma omo ye o ma de yo nyina nkyere se Ghana ewa ahohiahiem. Womo na mo a womo tuo womo ensem omo keka eno ma omo ye e ma omo ho ene omo nuanom ne womo namfonom enkyere se ehia Ghana. Eti so mo begina yanim se yensen tuatua to afoforo. Womo de to ahodo obetoto yeso a. Where is the justification? Some be deny him say Ghana ni sika. Edie be chinchim Ghana nina wabie na juma Ghana nina wono ni manufacture nuama wo Ghana ye de to ahodo betoto no so. In the name of revenue mobilization na ye campaign launch na sika ye ni say na. Eri na just say ye ni sika. Edi na kire. Says the guy about me at the campaign launch. Who do you bet me the eye or my? But Ghana need that soon. John Mahama, me and Tieno. Mahama, Yentieno.
Because answer now be chef free HSA or sure making sure say dormitories were and for that baby ada. Also making sure say classrooms were how baby there. Also making sure say dining hall or baby on betting and the chance no and I need see dormitories, dining halls, they send your money na secondary schools thing na and you see e-blocks, community day schools so I can home. If you say and for that number also I was so many school ni be call. And we move say free SHS no at once. Also when you ahogwa bia enkwada no ebenya ahoto etimi asua ade eno ena de ohaw na ba afa etimi de go back ebia kokrantumi secondary school na wenya dormitory this okope obi dan high ma oba etimi ko school ene wo kohwe eduane a enkwada ni di wo school a sabe Emprediasa. Ebian Fiempo, Nekrama in this area, no Sabi. And for that, every school bar, no more phone. Over shed dormitories, the way I almost packing Quadano. Free school aba. This is all the spray you am bibi anyasa so close so ebeba okay.
Ghana problems ni mini ena joma ama aka nkoda aduane kura nkoda bedi wo school kura ya asem na hwesika ye ekose se ye de koye campaign launch fatu so bio momon hwe wabra ye de Tonton Sansan no eto fatu so do mon hwe aduane mpo nkoda bedi wo school enwoma nkoda besua e wo mfitiase school edan keke wosi yesi man kwada wo musuade e wo nuase mpo yentimi nye head of the economic management team our lifestyle wo kasa ani bibia obeye e wo se daddy pefe se ahohiahia ba oman yi mu entimi so wo made yom no e basikasem ametete so said the be amanfo be hu say I am being sensitive to the plight of Ghanaians. Politics, any to me a ye penti. And yes, to me, no, when ya what the Baba ye bibi papa, that's Monsoa. And yes, to me, no, when ya what the Baba says a man for Abrabo. You nya to me, ni ya. Na yaso was were gone, AC. When ya to me, ni ya. Na 2 months and for a tata homo. When ya to me, ni ya. No, I best say, Sikasam. Ye bisan say ye den ba ya was Russia and Ukraine nemfom so de one yin to mu da. And at this time ye kuto esre say amanfom fa ye kancha ye. No, forget about all the political science theories you know say when it comes to party financing there are financiers. Some financiers no crowd you know and the mad you dangerous. Because there's one so at the Sika Mami. Some in Fanquire campaign. Nanya mean child ye nami wini abano. Nami be president. There's one so I expect to say, Papa na me ye you know. Mr. Made, me to go scratch him back. Because at the time I nami he was scratching me back. And there's one so ebe dictate ni awasa me ye as president. Because what Benya said to me in one so. Dr. Baumie, opa, Yantonchia, sa budget way, and I de baba your campaign launch now. So you'll be a watching to create your perfect your akuntabu dia. But I bet dine a ditch Ghana for baby when you sika, woke up when you say sika we are free, and you decide to my way. You pursue. But dine a ditch. And when you hear your comment, it say US and then the whole chronoba, woman now what the Abegina saw, and I get gay lesbianism and some more. You seek at some entity, and to the Mujina Contra, or we get gay lesbianism and some. I am man penny who do or Betimaka, or who said you won't see Casamo. She said, was Rose or Cano in a certain way. Sikabia one share Betima Bana, Etima solve problem, Cacrebino, one share ma. What's wrong? Oma says Sikasam and I'm your bedroom. And your bosses, and ya mob. Why never Ghana? Ya mob. And the young people now was almost sorry. Now ye can't credit champion for ya. Ye did to me at someone show my use one also. Woman so they are conforming. As obiati woman or mucho mumpre and omuti social media no more. Sembasa. Enti ye Ghana ni ye. Abusia for ye Tonton Sansan ye di abremono. Pa, she